Touring Car Championship 1988 was Rouse against Soper. Whether it was Brand, Silverstone, Thruxton or here at Donington, the battles were epic, with Rouse emerging victorious, but not as champion. That title went to Frank Sittner and the ProDrive team, beaten only once in the BMW in Class B. 1989 in the SO British Touring Car Championship promises to be the best ever. And nervous fingers hit the starter buttons. Alton Park, round one. Especially tense, Andy Rouse, the great engineer driver. Despite confidently placing his Ford Sierra RS 500 on pole position, he knows that behind him, no Steve Soper, but a packed Class A entry, this season better prepared to present a really strong challenge. There's Rob Gravitt alongside him, with an engine prepared by the Australian touring car master Dick Johnson. There's Chris Hodgetts, the former champion, on road 2, who showed he was close to matching Rouse's pace at the end of last season. There's big money backing and a Rouse-prepared car for the experienced Tim Harvey. And heading Class B, Britain's James Weaver, a proven race winner on both sides of the Atlantic. In all, 32 starters, but the spectacle and the glory this season is in Class A. No less than 17 Ford Sierras, but does anyone have a car to match Rouse, who qualified almost a second and a half quicker than Rob Gravitt? Further down the grid, Mike Smith, making his return to racing, is on the 6th row. James Weaver in the BMW on the 7th row, ahead of Frank Sittner. The target for Rouse, realistically, Class A success, because remember, a win in any of the lower, less competitive classes carries an equal number of overall championship points.
There's one or two fairly weak classes there where one particular driver is going to have a fairly easy time to pick up easy points, whereas I'm going to have to work very hard to gain those points. So we're not too optimistic about the championship, but we are optimistic about a really good season's racing.
Rob Gravitt alongside Rouse is part of the new Trackstar team, which he's set up with Mike Smith. Mike just happy to be back for his first race since his helicopter crash, but what kind of physical problem will he face?
Stamina is the problem. I've not had any chance to do any aerobic exercise, which I'm told I should have done, but you can't, you know, if your ankle won't move, you can't do it. It's going to take until early summer. I'm walking without a limp, and I'm gradually getting back into things, 2 hours physiotherapy a day. I'll be fit, I'll be fine, you know, my head's in the right place.
Before we join Murray Walker, a word about the other change for the new season. It's a rolling start, the field building up pace for an explosion of power across the start line. For the champion Frank Sittner in the body of the pack, that's not a great prospect.
I must say, I question whether it's a good idea here at Alton Park, because Old Hall comes up very quickly indeed. Instead of arriving at Old Hall at about 60 or 70 miles an hour, we'll be arriving at Old Hall at about 120 miles an hour. So we'll see what happens. I don't know, reserve judgment.
Well, we soon will see, because now they're on their way to the first rolling start of the SO British Touring Car Championship. Over the line, away they go into Old Hall Corner, and it's Andy Rouse leading, Gravitt in 2nd position, Chris Hodgetts and Harvey is in 4th place. Now we're in car with Mike Smith in the Ford Sierra Cosworth, straight into the back of Graham Goode's Sierra. That's a real thump, and that's the rear bumper missing off Goode's car as 2 string through ahead of Mike Smith. Onto Cascades, the left-hander. Up towards Lakeside and onto the hairpin at Shell, and at Shell, 2nd gear, 50 miles an hour they go into that. Rouse is leading, Hodgetts is in 3rd position, Gravitt is sandwiched in between them. Out of Shell, Tim Harvey is in 4th place, Guy Edwards is in 5th, there is Newman in 6th position, and Graham Goode is already retiring from the first race of the year. So, Clay Hill now, 5th gear, 130 miles an hour, Rouse, Gravitt, Hodgetts, Harvey, there's very little in it. Up towards Druids, a very tight right-hander, 3rd gear, 80 miles an hour. There's Rouse, Gravitt, Hodgetts, and Harvey in the blue Sierra is starting to close on Chris Hodgetts in the red one. On to Lodge. 2nd gear, 60 miles an hour. 2,000 horsepower from the first 4 Ford Sierra Cosworths. Into Deer Leap. 4th gear, 120 miles an hour. Rouse, Gravitt, Hodgetts, Harvey. And at the end of the lap, they're doing 135 miles an hour into Old Hall. There's Harvey. Down to Cascades, Gravett in second place, Hodgetts in third position, Harvey still holding fourth place. And away they go, and in car with Jerry Marnie now, taking seventh place from the Dutchman, Gerrit van Kouwen, and Gerrit's running on unleaded fuel, by the way. Shell corner, Jerry Marnie, seventh place, Van Kouwen behind him, eighth, Jones, ninth. Mike Smith and then the two BMWs, and now we're in car with Frank Sidner, the 1988 British champion. Ahead of him, his ebullient teammate, James Weaver, through the Forstern chicane, 60 miles an hour. And a grim-looking Graham Goode stomps down the pit lane, no doubt to complain. So let's look at it again from Mike Smith's point of view. He approaches the start line in grid order. The first corner, Old Hall ahead of him now, the right-hander. Closing up on Graham Goode's black Ford Sierra Cosworth as they tuck into the apex. Zap! Straight into the back. And there's going to be ructions about that. Graham is not at all happy.
Graham, what went wrong? I'll tell you what happened. Mike bloody Smith just gave me such a bang up the rear. I can't believe that. It's the second time he's done it. I just can't believe it. The first corner, there was a Labatt's car in front. Admittedly, he was going a bit rather slowly, but even so, Mike just gave me such a smack up the arse. I couldn't believe it. And he broke all the rear suspension.
Well, infuriating for poor Graham, but I'd call it a racing accident. And in the midfield, Clark, Hall and James Kay, all in BMW M3s, fighting for third place in their class. Whilst ahead of them in the two white BMWs at Old Hall, sports car ace James Weaver still leads British champion Frank Sidner. It looks like Frank's got his hands full. Down to Cascades at 130 miles an hour. Weaver ahead of him. Ahead of Weaver is Carl Jones. And meantime, number 56, John Cleland's Vauxhall Astra is leading Class C. And to nobody's surprise, it's number 70, Phil Dowsett's Toyota, leading Class D. More about them later. Lodge corner, and still the imperturbable Andy Rouse leads. But he's getting no peace at all from Rob Gravett and Chris Hodgetts. First, second and third, out of Deer Leap at 120 miles an hour. Over the start line at 135 miles an hour. Rouse drifts wide at 85 at Old Hall corner. Then Gravett, then Hodgetts. And it's really interesting up front with number 21, Rob Gravett Sierra, built by Australian champion Dick Johnson in Queensland for Gravett and Mike Smith's brand new Trackstar team. In car with Mike Smith. Carl Jones ahead in ninth place, and he goes off. Carl Jones goes off, muck all over Mike's windscreen. Watch the air pressure clearing it off. Get the wipers on. Into Cascades, there's Mike, Sean Walker, Carl Jones, and Weaver and Sidner, 12th and 13th in the BMWs and gaining. And now in car with a new slimline, Jerry Marnie, second in the British Championship in 1988. Goes past fifth place Mike Newman, does he? Yes, he does. Goes through on the inside. Jerry Marnie goes up to fifth. And that battered Sierra's Mike Smith. Down to Lodge corner, Marnie, then Newman. Then the Dutchman, Gerrit van Kouwen, back to saloon car racing. In car with Jerry Marnie. Up to fourth, 120 miles an hour. Fifth gear, 130 miles an hour over the line. And Jerry Marnie is pulling away. And now Carl Jones is cramming on the speed. Look at him, number 28 going through inside Mike Smith. Down to Cascades. And Sean Walker's attacking on the right. He goes through. I suspect that Mike Smith is getting tired. He is still recovering from that very bad helicopter crash he had last year. And James Weaver is right up with Smith. Number 21, Rob Gravett, approaching Shell. Second, look for Rouse in front of him. There he is. There's Gravett. Third is Chris Hodgetts in the red car, and the blue Sierra's Lawrence Bristow back after a stop. So now, up Clay Hill, into Druids. Number 1, Andy Rouse, lapping the BMW, leads. Rob Gravitt in second position, and it is beginning to look like Andy Rouse's race. He dominated things last year, and he's doing it again. Into Lodge. Dear lead. Drift wide. Change up. Over the line. Another lap completed. Andy is easing away. Old Hall corner. Gravitt second. Hodgetts third. Christo behind has been lapped. It's looking like 1988 again. Andy Rouse there won 9 out of 12 rounds last year. He's leading by 2 seconds. Not much, but it's enough. And back at Lodge, it's Newman, Van Cowan, Jones, Walker, Smith, Weaver. There's Weaver in the background behind Mike Smith. Weaver chasing Mike Smith, Ford Sierra hard. And that is Carl Jones, number 28 at Old Hall corner. Squeal of tyres, he's off. Carl Jones pirouettes across the grass in the Ford. He's going to be perfectly okay, but he's lost his placing. And now Frank Sidner is fighting Graham Hathaway in the yellow Ford Sierra for 13th place. Hathaway goes through on the inside. Sidner takes it back. No, he doesn't. Down to Cascades. That's ex-Rallycross British champion Graham Hathaway pitting 500 Cosworth horsepower against 320 Munich horses. And Frank's right up his boot lid. Nicker Brook, 130 miles an hour. Andy Rouse leads. Gravitt second. Andy Rouse is in a beautifully smooth groove. There's Hathaway and Sidner fighting it out behind. And gritty British champion Frank Sidner goes into Fulstons, but well behind James Weaver's class-leading BMW. Now you see why they're so good. Hathaway, Sidner, absolutely on the ragged edge. And there's Robin Donovan's Ford Sierra Cosworth, sandwiched between 2 BMWs. Being close, he's going to be taken. No, he's not. Turbo's blown. Robin Donovan's turbo blows. And into the pits comes Carl Jones. So, turbo problems for Donovan. Turbo problems for Carl Jones. But there is no turbo problem for Rob Gravitt. Look at him. He has closed right up on race leader Andy Rouse. They go through first and second to complete another lap, and lights ablaze. Chris Hodgetts is hanging on to third. 2 ex-British champions sandwiching Rob Gravitt in second position. Down to Cascades. Rouse. Gravitt. Out of the left-hander, they line it up for Shell by way of Island Bend. There's a couple of tail-enders ahead of them. Are they going to get in the way? There goes Chris Hodgetts. Here is Gravitt, almost attached to Rouse's Sierra. And what a debut for the Trackstar team. Nicker Brook, lapping 1. Lapping 2. Andy Rouse being forced every inch of the way by Rob Gravitt. Gravitt with a lot less experience, but he's giving Rouse a very hard time as Andy comes up to Druids at 80 miles an hour. Tucks in tight, lets it drift out, and he's off! Andy Rouse goes off! Straight into the tyre wall. That's a very big thump. But the door opens. Out gets Andy. Thank heavens he's okay. But why? A mistake? A tyre problem? Something broke? Oil on the track? Who knows? But whatever, Andy Rouse is out. Look at it again. He just suddenly changes direction for no apparent reason at all, and that is a mystery. Now, here is Andy's view. There's a problem with the camera, but you can see out of Nicker Brook at 130 miles an hour. Change gear. Change again. And again. Turn right. And off. Lost it on the grass. No friction there. Straight into the tyre wall. Well, Andy's got every reason to look dejected, but that tyre barrier worked and he's okay. while in the pits, a worried team are looking for the boss. Well, they won't see him, because now Rob Gravitt leads. There he is, his first race for the new Mike Smith Rob Gravitt Trackstar team. And in the other Trackstar Sierra, Mike Smith's tiring. He's being passed by the very impressive James Weaver's BMW. So James is now 9th class leader and a new class lap record holder. And keeping ahead of Mike Smith in spite of the fact that he's got 180 horsepower less. Number 10, Guy Edwards, is third now in the second Rouse team car behind Gravitt and Hodgetts. Battling it out with the 4th place man, number 7, Tim Harvey. There he is. On to Knickerbrook. Edwards in 3rd position, Harvey in 4th place. Up to Druids. And Guy Edwards is in his 24th year of racing. Formula One, twice winner of Alton's Gold Cup, and he's the man who pulled Nicky Lauda out of that blazing Ferrari in 1976. And he got a Queen's Gallantry Medal for that. Tim Harvey behind him, his 9th year of racing. Karts, Formula Ford, sports, saloons, he's driven them all, and he's in 4th position here. 17 Ford Sierra turbocharged Cosworth cars started this race, and they are really dominating things at the front and, of course, in Class A. And number 21, Rob Gravitt, hasn't got far to go now. If he can hang on, it's going to be a great win for him ahead of Chris Hodgetts and Guy Edwards. But Guy Edwards is touring. There's Guy. He's blown the engine. See the smoke pouring from the back, pulling off the course, out of the race. This is not the Rouse team's day. And it's not Chris Hodgetts' day either, after all. He's limping. Slowed right down. He's got a right front puncture. And that's Mike O'Brien coming up to pass him. Mike's well down the field, though. So Chris Hodgetts trying to get back to the pits to change that front wheel and tyre. On, slowly onwards goes Chris Hodgetts, and Mike O'Brien loses it. And drive assured, it says on the side. Well, Mike O'Brien regains the course. And it's going to be 32-year-old Rob Gravitt's race, all the way from Australia for his Sierra, and victory first time out. A superb achievement. Well done, Rob. And there is James Weaver winning Class B in the white BMW M3. Maximum points in his class. And as Weaver tours in, an exhausted Mike Smith in the second Trackstar Sierra just beats the rejoined Chris Hodgetts to 7th place. Mike Smith comes in, demonstrating the massive dent where he hit Graham Goode. But he's finished the race. And there it is. Turbocharged Ford Sierra Cosworth, 1st to 5th. Weaver's 2.3-litre non-turbo BMW 6th. And a very happy Rob Gravitt.
First time out, and the boys, they've worked so hard the last 2 weeks. They've only just arrived, these cars from Australia. They've been working 48 hours in a row, no bed. Amazing, I'm really pleased for them. What can I say?
Great effort from Gravitt, but class winners like John Cleland in Class C get the same championship points. Cleland gave a very impressive debut to the Vauxhall Dealer Sport 16-valve Astra GTE. Never headed in the class, he set a new lap record, and the Scotsman is already most people's tip for the overall championship title. Class D victory went to Jeff Kimber-Smith in his Toyota Corolla GT. But that was only after the demise of Phil Dowsett, the man who dominated the class last season and came close to winning the championship himself. Dowsett, struggling for finance and a late entry in his Toyota, was leading the class very comfortably when he was forced out with a broken drive peg. Even then, Kimber-Smith only just managed to take the points, forcing his car over the line on the starter motor after suffering a fuel problem on the very last bend. So drama among the lower classes, but not exactly the high drama that already leaves the quickest man in the field off the pace in the championship contest. Rouse's exit leaves Gravett, the Class B winner James Weaver and the Class C winner John Cleland tied for the championship lead. Jeff Kimber-Smith on reduced points in Class D, but expect Rouse to come powering back in the next round at Silverstone on Sunday week.